All right, so what you're going to do here is you're going to go to your Google Drive, click New, scroll down to Google Forms, open that up, and it's going to create a new Google form for you to fill out. This is what the blank template looks like. You're eventually going to add different questions and categories and stuff. At the top, I always put the student's name, put the name there, and then we'll start adding questions. All right, so this is what the completed form looks like. And again, at the top with the name, I always put the dates of the IEP, start and finish. So when you know the goal needs to be accomplished. Here, I'll write out the whole goal with all the components. Here's the basic question template. We're going to get rid of that. And the first one I created is the quarter 1, 2, 3, 4. I always put the date, the attendance, a couple different options to choose from. And then we get down into the components. Today we're doing underhand tossing. So you have facing the target. 1 is yes, 0 is no. It has to be one or the other. There is no in between. Go through, click your 1s and your 0s all the way through each component. I always like to add things like force and accuracy. Did it go too far, too short? Was it good? Left, right, kind of gives me an idea. And then I'll add any sort of notes here, and you can do this in paragraph form, and it'll kick it over to the Excel sheet for you. And then, did they accomplish the goal? Yes or no? This is the most important part of it. Once you go finish, click preview. All right, so this is going to be filling out the form officially. Pick the quarter, the day, the student was present. And then get into the components. Remember, it's either 1 for yes, 0 for no. Go through and click what you saw. All right, I added some notes. For some reason, I wrote bean back instead of bean bag. Ignore that. And add some of the stuff that you saw while you were throwing that might help you explain things in IEP meetings. All right, remember at the end, the success. This is the important part that gives you a percentage for how well they did. And then click submit. And this is what it'll look like. Now we're going to go back to the editing portion where you can kind of change things. At the top, you see response, and it has a little 1. Every time you add a response, it'll put a different number. It'll keep increasing. Then you go to link sheets. But before we do that, you can scroll down and you can see the different percentages. And every time you submit a form, it'll change the percentages around. We're going to scroll back up. We're going to click on link sheets, and it's going to create an Excel for you. Label it how you want. Usually put their name and then responses. Click create. And now you have a Google sheet with the data. And I like to resize everything. So it looks nice and tidy, and I wrap some of the text and I change the angle of the text. This is what it's going to look like after 10 submissions. So you saw the student 10 different times, and I kind of changed the format and the way the text is written so I can kind of see it all on one screen. On the column, remember, 1 is yes, 0 is no. And right now we're going to find out what the percentages of how often he was facing the target. So you're going to come up to the little equation, click average. It's going to give you a range from E2 to E11. Highlight it, enter. It's going to give you a big number. Go up to the top where it says percentage, click percentage. Lower the decimals so you don't have too many places, resize it, and it gives you how often or what percentage of the time they did that. Drag the little circle across and it'll give you a percentage for all of them. And then to know the final success of how often the student is completing all of the components, go through the same process. And it looks a little small as I'm doing the voiceover, but I think it's about 44% of the time, 44.44% of the time. And that's what you would put in the progress notes or talk about in the IEP.